I don't remember
Yeah.
4 hours prior to the accident. Like you said, I was in a coma for about 5 days afterwards. I hit my head so hard, almost bled out at the scene. They used the jaws of life to get me out of the vehicle. I was drinking and driving. I wasn't paying attention to the road, but obviously I was so drunk, or I hit my head so hard that I don't have a real memory of what led up to that moment. I was airlifted to Sunnybrook Hospital, and the nurses and doctors, and God did a miracle on me.
Wow.
Yeah.
Take me back to who Christine was on June 24th.
Well, I was a restorative hygienist, and I, was making great money. I thought I had arrived. I had a great job, great friends, an amazing family, but I always knew that something just wasn't right.
You did know.
I knew. Like, there was always those times where it's like, I have all of this, but why am I still sad? My alone time, why am I still sad? So, yeah.
So what did you do to kind of calm that sadness?
I drank and I partied with my friends. I did drugs, and I thought that was fulfilling, and I thought that was just me partying, but it was really just me trying to fill, so that I wouldn't be alone and I wouldn't be sad. Yeah.
And so I'm reading this list here. So injuries: shattered hip,
Yes.
lacerated liver,
Yeah.
brain injury,
Yes.
collapsed lungs, broken leg. You are sitting in this hospital bed.
Yeah.
I mean, you're just broken.
Yes.
Internally
Yeah.
as well as externally.
Yeah.
But your sister
Yeah, bless her. Oh
is
my
kind
goodness.
of this angel in this story.
Yeah, she really is. She came to my bedside. She didn't leave my bedside. She worked in Burlington, would travel all the way to Sunnybrook Hospital just to be with me every single night, to pray with me. And I didn't believe in God at the time, So I remember when I finally kind of came to, and I was out of the coma, and things were starting to make sense, and they had told me, this is kind of what happened. I wouldn't want to go back to sleep, because when I was in the coma, it was terrifying. It was like, I remember everything from that coma, and it was just like a horrible nightmare. So I didn't want to go back to sleep. So she would come and she would pray with me, and she started reading to me a book called Captivating by Stacey Eldridge. And it was through that and through her prayers and the Christian music that she gave to me that I found peace, and then I started to really, really question, like, who is God? How come he loves me like this book says he loves me?
Why were you all of a sudden open to that conversation?
Well, I think that it was, I'd lost everything at that point. I thought I had everything, and it was all taken from me in one moment. And so, yeah, I had no choice in that moment but to question those things.
It's interesting because you were talking about this lifestyle where you were circulating with your friends.
Yeah.
And then I noticed in the story that your sister was there. Where were your friends?
You know what? I think 2 of them came to visit me in the hospital, and that was short-lived. They just kind of disappeared. One visited me at home, but I mean, we're talking months, like 2 months in the hospital, months and months of recovery after that. The full recovery took almost 4 years.
Wow.
I had a surgery 3 years later. Like, it was just, it was a lot of recuperation. And the friends that I had, as wonderful as I thought that they were, and, I'm not saying they're not good people, because they are, but they just didn't have the stamina to stay with me, so I bless them.
So what was happening in your heart towards Jesus, and how did you start to see that change?
Yeah, my sister kept talking to me about like her C group girls, like her Connect girls, and I was bedridden. Like, I actually got moved from Sunnybrook to my parents' home, and they set up their whole living room there for me. And in that, she would always come, and she would, wash my hair, do my nails, whatever I need, because I was bedridden. And I was just like, I needed to get out of the house so bad. Yeah. And like, she kept talking about these wonderful girls, and I was just like, I'll go.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know who they are, but I'll go. And and it was through that, like I found out that, the moment the car accident happened, this entire church was praying for me. You know, these C group girls, they were all praying for me. So when I walked through the door of this woman's house, it was like, oh my goodness, Christine.
You're the walking
yeah,
miracle.
well, you're the miracle. We've been praying for you. Same thing when I entered the church. The whole church came up and gave me a hug.
But you weren't totally sold. I mean, you
No.
tried Jesus out for a while just to see.
Yeah, you know, I was really skeptical in the coma because it was terrifying. I remember praying, "Ye though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I shall fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff would comfort me." And I remembered that because that was taught to me when I was a young child. You know, it wasn't something that stuck with me, you know, but it came back in the exact moment that I needed it. And so I knew that there was something to that. And so I kind of made a promise in that, you know, like, God, if you can save me from this horrifying place, I will come and find you. And I remembered that promise when I got out of the coma. And so my sister started coming, and you know, and then I met all these C group girls, and I'm like, oh, I have to do this because I made a promise. So I did, and I started, and I kept with it, and finally, like, I started going to C group, then I started going to church, and I would just weep in worship. Like, I didn't understand what was happening. I didn't know it was God that was speaking to me in that time, you know. And so finally, about 6 months later, I listened to I'm an artist, so I'm very visual. And Affabel,
Okay.
it's an audio play. And so you have to sit and close your eyes and just listen to it. And a bunch of C group girls were doing this at their house one evening. And through that, after that, they do the sinner's prayer. And I was just bawling by that time. And I gave my heart to God in that moment. And then I gave my heart at church publicly the following Sunday.
And now you do visual arts ministry as well. Who does or what does Jesus mean to you today?
Oh my goodness, everything.
What does that mean, everything?
He's my salvation. Like, everything that everything that I've been through, you know, I almost died. You know, my life could have been so much different. If I hadn't have died in that moment, you know, I would have been in a gutter easily somewhere. He is the one that picked me up and saved me, you know. Before the car accident happened, I was so drunk and driving, and I remember crying out and saying, oh God, like, if you're real, just fix me. I don't know what's wrong. And that was one of those prayers that I didn't realize just what was gonna happen. You know, and a week later, the crash happened. And so I see all of these things when you look back, and all of it lines up, you know, and it's just such a story, you know, and God was in every single moment of it. He's always been there with me, and all I had to do was cry out.